Okay, got a question for you. Have you ever felt like you were fighting your buyer instead of guiding them? Like they wanted what you had, but just couldn't pull the trigger? What if I told you the real problem isn't the budget, the objections, skepticism, right? It's how their brain processes decisions. So today I'm going to teach you how to get homeowners to close themselves without pushing, without pressure, and definitely without sounding like a typical salesperson. So stick around. It is going to be an incredible episode. Welcome back to Close It Now. I am stoked about what we're going to cover today. But first, let's get into a couple things. And one is let's start off the day with what's in your cup today. I today I have I ordered some Nespresso pods because that's the espresso machine that I have at home right now. Love love espresso, love good coffee. Honestly, I travel so much. That's when I get really good coffee. So I do the best I can when I'm at home, mainly because the labor involved to do it properly. But so that's why I've been drinking the Nespresso pods lately. So I got these dudes. They are Rosso Cafe, Rosso. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. You can actually see the box that I'm looking at. This was pretty cool. So I ordered this off of Amazon. It was a box of 12 different brews. They came with each of them had 10 pods, and it was assorted from super light brew, all almost like a blonde, all the way to this one, which is number 12. It's called Meteorite. So it is pretty dang dark. Let's see. Flavor profile is strong and full bodied, dark roast, intensity 12. So, yeah, everybody, what are you drinking? What's in your cup today? I'm always interested in, love to try new beans, new ideas. I am going to be going up into Grand Rapids, Michigan, on coming up here at the beginning of second week of April in 2025. So if you hear this and you're in the area and you know of a really great coffee shop for me to try, please message me and let me know. I would love to try it. So anybody that knows one in Grand Rapids, let me know about that. That's going to be exciting. So, what's in your cup today? Are you drinking coffee? You're drinking tea? Let's take a collective sip in three, two, one. All right. Now, before we get into this, I want to highlight a review because there was a really awesome one that came in. For everyone that doesn't know, I do something a little special for people that leave me a 5-star review. If you leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or over on Google, just search Close It Now on Google, leave me a 5-star review. If I read your review on an episode and you hear it and you message me, I will give you a free 1 hour coaching session. Now, that is a huge value. In fact, a ton of people that have done that have commented that, they get more in that 1 hour than they do in the last few years of training at their company. So definitely taking advantage of that. But I love 5-star reviews. So today I'm going to highlight one 5-star review. The title is Amazing Show from Ron Taylor the Second. Ron, he says, Sam does a phenomenal job with the show. He creates $1 million worth of value each episode. Well, thank you, Ron. A lot of trainers and podcasters are go, go, go. A lot of us are not. Sam takes a soft approach, and it speaks volumes to us who are like him. As an introvert by nature and an extrovert by trade, Sam knows how to get the message into my head every episode. Thank you, Sam, for being you. Hopefully, your friend in the future. Absolutely, Ron. I appreciate that so much. If you hear this, message me. We'll get you hooked up with your coaching session with me. Also, yeah, you know what? Just have to adopt the mindset that, strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. And when you have that mindset, it really changes everything because that means then you're cool with talking to strangers in public. If you're not used to that, that is a lot of times, especially if you're introvert, you know, situational extroverted, like sounds like Ron is, there's a whole different personality styles. A lot of top performers or just a lot of salespeople in general. So me, I'm pretty extroverted. I'm just extrovert most of the time, except when I need to recharge. Now, this is fun, Ron, because I have over the years have very intentionally worked to temper that excitement and the go, go, go. Because if you see me in my personal life, that's very much who I am normally most of the time, except when it comes with being a professional and being intentional and articulate with how we communicate and what we're doing with our words. So I completely understand. So many, gosh, I work with so many people, technicians and advisors and all the different trades that are just like you, that are introverted normally, but it's called being situationally extroverted, where either through an occupation or once you get to an event, you're excited about it, but then you have to go back and recharge. So I totally get it, and that's that's why I love the psychology, because instead of just energy, 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 that's only going to enroll some people in your program. We have to understand the different dynamics of psychology behind personality styles and all those different things as part of being next level. So thanks for the review, Ron. I appreciate it. Everybody make sure to pop your review onto Apple Podcasts and onto Google. And I think Spotify has actually started a way to be able to leave a review on there as well. So I'll check into that. So, all right, let's see. One more sip of the Rosso Cafe. Cafe. And let's get into what we're talking about today. Now, last quick announcement, of course. The Close It Now Relentless, the Ultimate Sales Transformation Boot Camp. This you got to know about. The dates did move. It's May 6th, 7th, 8th, 2025. Get your ticket at closeitnowbootcamp.com. It is going to be awesome. We already got a bunch of tickets sold. I've been working with the event planner this week. I'm expecting the best. We should have a venue, actually address locked in this week for that event. So it's going to be awesome. Oh my gosh, what we are putting together, you are not going to want to miss. You will never have seen anything like this in the trades. It is truly going to be a transformational event. Yes, I am going to go over the Close It Now sales system, the one that top performers like say Austin, Aviles in New York closed in January $1.1 million at 72% close rate from 96 appointments in January in 1 month with this system. So that is what I'm talking about. No, that's not not every single person is going to be able to do that. Clearly, there's a lot of work ethic and other things that went into that. And Austin, we're going to get him on the show here pretty quick so we can discuss, what his life looks like and what it was like hitting that month of closing at that level. But, people all over the country follow the system, and it is changing the game. So that we're going to be going over the Close It Now sales system. We're going to role play. We're going to do a ton of role play. We're going to practice what we preach, right? It's not just explaining it. It's putting the boots on the ground. It's actually doing the work. We're going to have some closing competition. I think I'm really working on some cool stuff. We're going to practice handling objections, right? We got to be able to handle the objections. The cool part is when you understand the dynamics behind objections, it makes it very, very simple. So sales should be easy. And that's what we're going to, what I'm going to show you at the event. Now we've got some incredible speakers. I do have locked in 2 people, so 3 people so far. One is Jonathan Neves up at Green Energy Mechanical. If you've ever heard the brother speak, he is fire, mental judo at its finest. So you're going to love that. Personally, I know that he has closed, oh gosh, I want to say $170,000 something dollar residential HVAC ticket. It's more than just HVAC, of course. There's lots of things in there. The last I talked to him, I feel like he was telling me he closed a ticket that was over $200,000 for one residential project. So he is going to be speaking. Also, Doug C. Brown, who is incredible. He's the founder of an organization called Vibitno, which is it's a CRM and a tracker and sales tracker. It's the best sales tracker I've ever seen. So if you want to know more about that, let me know, and I'm happy to get you connected to it. I bought that program for my company for Close It Now because it's so good. It is the best follow-up software that I've ever seen. So I'm stoked about that. And the other speaker that was just confirmed is Scott Sylvan Bell. If you don't know who this is, he is a veteran in the industry. He is, in my opinion, one of the very best sales trainers or just trainers in general in HVAC. Him and I are going to be doing a really cool special session together that is, it's going to knock your socks off. It's going to just absolutely change the game if you only took away what we're going to cover in our one session, your numbers would go up 30% if you went back and implemented it. So I cannot stress to you how cool this event's going to be, how transformational it's going to be, and how it's going to change your numbers until you actually come in. You got to experience it. So go to closeitnowbootcamp.com, get your ticket. It is going to sell out. I will tell you that. It is starting to be promoted like crazy all over the country. It is going to sell out. It is sales training like you've never heard before. And no, you don't have to just be an HVAC. We're going to cover a lot of things. Yes, there's a couple special sections just for HVAC. At the same time, no matter what you're in, you will get massive value from this, no matter what you sell, what you do. So that actually takes me to the last quick announcement before we get into the content, which is yes, people have been reaching out. Yes, we do train companies other than strictly HVAC companies. In fact, in April, where I'm headed, I'm going up to go to see Mike Lott up at Flat River Electric. He's an electrician who owns an electric company. So we're going to be working with him. So yes, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, or any combination there. Also, we've got garage doors. There's a couple garage door guys coming to the event. The very first two tickets sold were actually to a gentleman that owns a garage door company and one of his people. So garage doors, you name it, irrigation, solar, whatever it is, we have a program for that, or I can custom build one. So we're working with everybody at this point because everyone needs so much help. So who do you know that you can send our way to that we can help? So let's get into this content. So let's see. The main thing is, you know, so kind of circling back a little bit because obviously I went off on there are no tangents, important announcements, but let's come back. So after the boot camp announcement, May 6th, 7th, 8th, closeitnowbootcamp.com, let's go back. So I started with this question. Have you ever felt like you were fighting your buyer instead of guiding them? Like we know that they want what we have, what we're selling, if our system or whatever, but they just couldn't pull the trigger. So many times it feels like that, and then we end up, talking our way. It's like it feels like it's sold, then we talk our way out of it. Those kind of things. So we're going to dive in a little bit on some. This is some brain science. I love brain science. Yes, I am going to do some practical boots on the ground episodes coming up soon. I realize we've been drifting in the ether lately with mental, lots of psychology. So I hope this is valuable to you. If it is, go leave me a review, like we were saying, or pop me a message. But the reality is, buyers don't decide the way you think, right? They don't decide the way we think. The mistake most salespeople make is, we think we're selling about logic, facts, persuasion. We are not there to convince. We're not there to convince. Our goal is to educate, to provide solutions to legitimate problems, or not just problems, but also things that could enhance someone's life or protect from failures in the future. There's lots of reasons, but but we're not there to convince, right? If you think sales is convincing, you have sales all wrong. Sales is with integrity. It's truly, serving at the highest level. So the main thing is, homeowners don't buy logically though. So many of us come from a technician's background, and when I'm working with people in my one-on-one coaching sessions, they a lot of times will, I'll have them say, pitch me a air purifier, pitch me a tankless water heater. I'm just pulling some examples out, pitch this for me. Like, I'm your homeowner, sell me on it. And then they'll go through the list and I'll say, okay, sometimes it depends on, who I'm talking to. Sometimes I'll start snoring right in the middle of it. It's like, hang on, you just put me to sleep. Re- Pitch me again. And so it's like, wait a minute. It feels like all you did was just read me the spec sheet off of the product. We have to remember we're not there to convince, we're there to ask questions, we're there to educate. And if it's a good fit, the homeowner will say yes. We're there to show how it can be the solution for their problems, not just to read them a spec sheet. So we've got 3 steps for you today to help out with this process. Now, the first one, I haven't talked about the permission stack in a while, so it was time to reignite this conversation. So step 1 is the permission stack. How to lead the buyer without resistance. We are leading the call. We're training our buyers how to buy from us, training our homeowners how to buy from us during our appointment. So what I mean by that is the more questions we ask. In fact, I'm going to refer to a statistic from Rilla that I heard when Sebastian was on the show. If you've thought about Rilla, go back and listen to the show with Sebastian. He's the founder and CEO and just overall incredible guy. But one of the statistics that I heard from them is top performers ask 5 times as many open-ended questions as the bottom performers do in home sales appointments. So what that means is we're leading that homeowner into the purchase. That also means when we ask more questions, one, it keeps them engaged. So have you ever had a time, this is one of the reasons the permission stack is so important. Have you ever had a time where, say, the homeowner asks you, about something directly? They ask, hey, we've got issues with our water heater. What options do you have? Or, hey, we're having issue. The allergies lately been killing us. What options do you have? So the traditional answer is to just roll straight into, well, we've got the tanked version, or we've got a heat pump water heater, we've got a tankless water heater, and just start word vomiting all over them. Well, now here's the follow up question to that. Raise your hand if you've been in this situation where they ask the question, you start to answer directly, and it's like that wall goes up right in front of them. Their eyes glaze over and they check out. I mean, half the time they grab their phone and start texting right in the middle of your answer. And you're like, wait a minute, you just literally asked me this freaking question. Why are you checking out? Right? Raise your hand. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So permission stack comes in. It does a handful of things for us. We don't have time in this episode to get into all of the legitimate brain science and the reason it's important. But in applying it here, here's what happens. When we ask, so the permission stack sounds like this, and I'll tell you why it's important. So the permission stack, sales resistance happens when the buyer feels like they're being forced to decide things. That's when sales resistance happens, when it feels like they're being told instead of asked, when they're being sold to instead of allowed to purchase. That's when sales resistance starts to happen. So the permission stack creates this natural buy-in throughout the conversation, and it's a really simple 3-step process. Number 1 is ask permission. So is it okay if I go over the permission stack with you here right now? Yes, yes. See, I ask permission. So before presenting, we've got to get buy-in. Would you like to hear? So in those examples, absolutely. Of course, we have some, several options for water heaters. Would you like to hear what your options are? Or for the air purifier? Absolutely. Of course, we have some really incredible ways that we help homeowners in the area with their allergies. Would you like to hear what the options are? So when we ask that permission question again, like that, instantly physiology changes, because if we just answer and practice this with somebody in your life, when they ask you a question, just answer directly and watch their physiology. And by their physiology, I just mean how their body language. What does it do? Because when we just answer directly and just start listing out the different options or whatever it is, there's literally no change in the face, no change in the body. They just stare. When we ask that permission question, The most incredible thing happens, and I do this every single time with every new coach one-on-one coaching client that I have. Quick pop out. I only have a few spots left in my one-on-one coaching program right now. So if you want one of those spots, message me and we can get you plugged in before they fill up. They always stay full throughout summer. So make sure that you're one of the handful of people that actually has a spot on my list, because they're over half gone now. I just opened up the list here a couple weeks ago. Um, but when I'm working with one-on-one coaching clients, we I always go through this exercise, or anytime I'm doing an on-site training, I always do this exercise. And so we'll role play this a couple times. I'll say, ask me something like that. Usually we use a water heater or air filter, just something easy. And the first time, and we know we're in role play, the first time there's no change, face doesn't change. But the second time, when they say, you know, hey, we've got issues with our water heater. You guys have any options for that? And we ask the permission question. Yeah, absolutely. We've got several great options for that. Would you like to hear what they are, or would you like to hear what your options are? Now, even in role play, what happens is that person leans forward slightly. They start nodding. They smile. They say yes, and you can see it in their eyes. The level of engagement instantly changes because their physiology changes, because that's a pull you forward question instead of a push them back type of statement. Now, it keeps the wall from going up and it keeps them engaged in your conversation, and they're not going to check out because you asked a question and you didn't give the answer until you heard an answer, and response to your question. So that's step one. Step one is ask permission. Step two is give the data, give the information, whatever it is you're talking about. So in this example that we're listening to, I asked you permission, and now I'm talking about what the permission stack is. In the boots on the ground example of role play, then it's when you would tell them about what options, right? You tell them about the water heater, tell them about the air filter, air purifier. Next level, then, even from there, is before I tell you about your options, do you mind if I ask you a few more questions about what we're wanting to accomplish and what you're experiencing? That way I can make the right recommendation for you. And then once you've asked some questions around that, then make your recommendations, because now you're becoming a consultant and you're only offering solutions to the problems they say they have or the things that they want to improve. This is next level sales right here. So step one is asking permission. Step two is giving data. And the three is check in. My favorite is, does that make sense? Or do you see how this could be an issue if it's around something, a problem, some sort of problematic, right? Asking permission, say technicians especially, or when we discover something, if it's not an option that we're talking about, asking permission could kind of sound like, hey, remember earlier I asked you if I found anything else outside of what besides what I'm here for to look at related to energy savings, health and safety, or building durability, if you wanted me to bring it to your attention. They'll say, yeah, of course. What would you like to see what I found? Of course they do. And then we go through whatever the information is. And then the check in here could sound something like, do you see how this could be an issue? Instead of just telling them, hey, this is broken and it needs fixed, we explain what's happening, tell them and show them, not just tell, but show in pictures and drawings what it's supposed to be like, show them what they have, and then ask, do you see how that could be an issue? Right? So this is really important. So why this works: one, people don't resist information they asked for. Number two, they stay engaged instead of mentally checking out. Number three, by the time you get to the close, they feel like they've arrived at the decision themselves because you've done it through questions. So raise your hand. Has anybody ever seen that movie Inception? This is a lot of what we're doing here. So that is step one, the permission stack. Step two, the power of ownership language. This is huge, right? We are so for all of those of you that know, I like to talk about NLP, or neuro linguistic programming. For the rest of you, you don't even have to learn it. It doesn't matter. Just know that a lot of the scripting and the language we talk about, we've got brain science baked in. I basically shortened it to brain science so we can talk about it in a way that makes more sense. So brain science is baked into this one. The power of ownership language. People resist being told what to do but they lean into what they feel they choose, right? They will really lean into what they feel like that they're choosing, but they'll resist being told what to do. So here's an example of like really weak sales language. I recommend you go with this option. Or what some people say is, I highly recommend you go with this option. That is not even not any stronger, except you have a highly, you have an adverb, was an adjective adverb in there. Highly recommend you go with this option instead of just I recommend you go with this option. Weak language. Change your language, change your results. So here's a couple examples of ownership based sales language. So these are much stronger ways to say some of this. So first, and of course, imagine that it's through questions. First one is, and it's one of my favorites. Which of these options feels like the best fit for you and your family? Which of these options feels like the best fit for you and your family? Remember, and pay attention. We use the word feels. This is important. Feels like, because this, when you ask a feeling question, if we say, which of these options do you think is the best fit for you and your family? We're stuck in the head. We're in logic. When we ask which of these options feels like the best fit for you and your family, we're in the heart. We're asking a feeling question because people make buying decisions based on emotion. They justify it with logic and then actually justify that logic choice with another emotion. So here's another example of an ownership based sales language. What do you think is the best next step? Right? Or another one. And I love this one, right? This is great, especially great for technicians. If you're on a maintenance call, this is huge. If you're in say you're in a repair call and you've done a good job of building some options, and I'm not a fan of 6 options. If you've built some options and you're asking them the closing questions. I love this question. This is powerful. Do you want to take care of this now or wait until it becomes a bigger issue? And then shut up and let them answer. Do you want to take care of this now or wait until it becomes a bigger issue? When they choose, they own the decision. When we push, they resist. This is the big, big, big difference with ownership language here. So, one more time for those questions. So, which of these options feels like the best fit for you and your family? What do you think is the best next step? Or, of course, you could convert that to, Uncle Joe, make that what should we do right there if you want. It's the same type of question. That's the reason he built it like that. And then, or I love this for technicians, or even for, advisors in the right situation. Do you want to take care of this now or wait until it becomes a bigger issue? Love that question because and this is not manipulation. We're just making them aware of very apparent facts and showing them reality of what's going on in their experience and in their life. So, do you want to take care of this now or wait until it becomes a bigger issue? So, they will own the decision if they do it through a question. Because remember, it's not what we say, it's what they say that matters. So, step 3. So, recap real quick. Step 1 was the permission stack, using that as permission. Step 2, the power of ownership language. And step 3. Step 3 is the subconscious close. Let's make them see it before they buy it. Make them see it before they buy it, because people make decisions based on future emotions. Now, we've been talking about storytelling. We've been talking about painting the picture. Your job is to make them experience the benefit before they commit. I'm saying this a little differently, so maybe some of you will get it this time. So many times we have to hear things a lot of different ways before it sinks in. I'm the same. And so I'll raise my hand first. I'm just as guilty. That's why a lot of times I'll teach a lot of these things over and over in different ways, because every single time somebody hears it differently. So people make decisions based on future emotions. Your job is to make them experience the benefit before they commit. Before they commit, they've got to experience the benefit. If they're already there mentally, it's no longer price, it's no longer urgency, it's anything else. And here's a good example. And let's take an HVAC system and talk about efficiency. Instead of just saying, "Hey, the system will lower your bills," right? Because that's how we normally say, "Yeah, it's the most efficient system. Your bills are going to go down." Let's try this way. Change it up a little bit. Make them feel it. Say something like, imagine imagine your electric bill comes in next month, and you see it's $100 a month lower without you doing anything different. What would that feel like? Imagine your electric bill, your utility bill comes in. It's electric, gas, whatever it is. I mean, for if you're, if you're propane, if you're fuel oil, whatever it is. But imagine your bill comes in next month and you see it's $100 lower, and you didn't do anything different. What would that feel like? That's a really powerful question, because their brain is going to go to work on what it feels like. It's the emotion of it. What does that feel like? Because the thing is, with brain science, the brain cannot tell the difference between imagining something and actually experiencing it. So when we guide them to visualize life with a solution, they are emotionally pre-buying it. So this is what happens when we start to, when I say we're getting ahead of the objections, when I say we're getting, you know, somebody that gets the same objection over and over, it's something they're doing in their process to plant the seed for that objection. So this type of thing is getting ahead of the objection so they don't ever come up to start with. So, okay, let's wrap this up. Closing thoughts, right? Closing thoughts. The best closers aren't pushy. They're not aggressive. They don't sell. They guide, right? You're a tour guide on this, as Scott Bell says, you're a tour guide on this process. Will you allow me to be your tour guide through this process? Right? They guide by using the permission stack, ownership language, subconscious visualization. You'll make your buyer feel like it was their idea all along. And that's when sales become easy. I'm here to tell you this is a very real thing. Talk to any top performer that you know, and they are a lot of times are intuitively doing this. They just don't even realize it. And so that's one of the things I've been blessed with, is my superpower, so to speak, is the ability to take this intuitive thing that top performers do and be able to break it down for you. Because when we can understand the mechanics of the steps, that allows the rest of us to be able to reach that stardom level a lot quicker and easier than beating your head against the wall for 20 years like I did, trying to figure this out on my own. So go try it today, right? This is my challenge. Test it in your next conversation. And if you see a difference, shoot me a message. And remember, just like Brian Burton over at Waste No Day says, you got to try something 20 times to even know if you're any good at it or not. Know that the first however many times, you're going to suck at it, and that's okay, because every master was once a disaster. I tell the story often about, for the first 2 years of my sales career, I was scared crapless to even ask for the sale. I didn't ask for the sale one time in my first 2 years. I did great numbers. They could have been a lot better had I been able to ask for the sale, until I was finally able to overcome that. And now I can ask for the sale, 8 ways from Sunday. But I couldn't then. So every master was once a disaster. Go try this. Go try it in your conversations. Go try it today. Remember, success happens at the speed of implementation. And shoot me a message. I want to know how this lands on people. How's the experience in this conversation? I'd love to hear about it. So go join the Facebook group. Go search Close It Now on Facebook, join that Facebook group, and let's talk about this. It's huge, and I know that it will help a lot of you change your sales immediately. So go join the Facebook group there. It's an incredible group of people supporting each other, great place to ask questions, get support, and I do a lot of trainings in there as well. We do live role play sessions for people that you don't get the opportunity to practice objections. If you are, say a solo person out there, your company just doesn't role play, doesn't practice any of this, join the Facebook group. I do free live role play sessions in my Zoom room. So I'm leading it, and we just rock it out for for an hour and a half. I do trainings in there. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's some webinars coming up. So there's a lot of things happening in the Facebook group. So go join that. You can follow me on Instagram at The Real Close It Now. Email me, sam@closeitnow.net, and go to closeitnow.net to the website. You can learn more about having me speak at your event. You can learn more about what the coaching programs look like. Yes, we are coaching on site. We're booking for the year for 2025. You can book for me to be out there. I've still got a few openings in my schedule. Make sure you get on the list and let me get out to your company. Have me out there. You will see the difference immediately. And when we train this content, people don't go backwards. It's not just a sales bump and then they get lazy and fall off. It's awareness, because if they go backwards, they intentionally do it. And we give you the tools to be able to manage it and maintain the momentum and keep it growing even after we're gone. So get us out to your company for an on-site training. Also, like I mentioned, I've got a handful of one-on-one coaching spots that are still open in my calendar. So make sure to reach out about those, because they will go fast. And of course, the big announcement is make sure to go get your ticket for the Close It Now Sales Boot Camp. It is Relentless, the Ultimate Sales Transformation in Boston, Massachusetts, May 6, 7, and 8. It's going to be transformational. And yeah, that's it. So if you got some value from this, make sure to go leave me a 5-star review. And this is it. I want you to feel empowered, not just entertained, right? Go take action. Include this in your conversations, and I want to know what results you get. So, everybody, until next time, go out there and be somebody worth buying from.